Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey, all the old Cappy. We kind of got a... I don't want to give the details, but this is a former client I had, and he had issues and things and stuff. And I said, well, here's how I view your issues and things and stuff, which is all asshole consulting really does. You give me money, I'll look at issues and things and stuff. And it turned out his issues and things and stuff worked out well, so I'm very happy. Hello. Say hi to the missus for me. I'm glad that things worked out for you guys. And that was all well. But he didn't write about his issues and things and stuff. He wrote about something else here. I would like you to watch the TED video titled A Reality Check on Renewables by David McKay and give your opinion on renewables energy. I believe renewable energy is the future because coal and oil are non-renewable sources of energy and they will run out one day. But as the video suggests, the renewable energy is not very feasible in practice to replace non-renewable anytime soon either. Yes, the technology improves as we go forward, so we would be able to get more energy from the same area of renewable power plants. For example, today's solar plants are much more efficient compared to solar plants of 2 decades ago. Same things are true for other renewable power plants as well. They're becoming more and more efficient as time goes forward. So in the future, maybe 20 to 30 years from today, it might be possible to replace coal and oil with renewable resources. Dude, I know this may shock a lot of you, but I'm probably more environmentally conscious than most of you guys would believe. And I'm certainly more environmentally active. I'm not talking about activism. I mean, I actually consume less than your average environmentalist because I don't like spending money. In part being a minimalist, I don't like spending money on heat or electricity, and so I installed a wood-burning stove. Now, admittedly, that does take wood, but that really drastically cuts on my heat bill. I was totally willing to go off-grid. I was really looking forward to Tesla's home batteries and going to set up a solar panel on my little South Dakota plantation. But that doesn't look like it. I am looking into potentially not a hybrid, but a, what do they call it? It's got a gas and electric engine. Getting one of these because in Vegas they do have these charging stations. Now I know they're charged by coal and oil, but it only makes economic sense. As an economist and a minimalist, you want to cut your expenses everywhere. Oh, I caulked the hell out of I winterized my house come Minnesota winter time, and then I did a ton of work on just trying to get heat and electric bills down. And I'll be honest, it's not so much for the environment. It's because I don't want to spend the money. But in the process, I emit very little carbon compared to my and I work from home. That's another thing. You baby boomers, still you're grabbing on with your death claws, still forcing millions of people to unnecessarily commute. But then on the same webpage of the company you guys lead, we care about the environment. That's why we force millions of our employees to spend 2 hours a day back and forth, especially in environmental clean California. We force you to stick on those roads and spew gas. Anyway, so yeah, I was looking for, because I want to kind of install it myself, and I'm off grid to get a wind power thing, and screw the government, and it just isn't economically feasible. I want to see your opinions about it. Almost every government is trying to push for the renewable power plant instead of coal and oil, but renewable is not very practical either. However, I believe we should continue to push for renewable resources. We put more and more investments to study how to make them more and more efficient. We have to develop alternatives to coal and oil because one day coal and oil will run out. That's the ultimate answer right there. I agree with you 100%. Now, I checked 400 odd years of coal supply in the United States, so this is a very far in the future academic. But oil, they're all and it will run out. It will, but then we develop a new technology like shale and fracking. This topic is very politically dividing subject. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. If saner heads ruled, and what's his name? David McKay, he points it out. He says, popularity and emotions affect this debate, where they have no right to be in this debate. So it should not be dividing. People on both sides of the political spectrum, right and left, talk like a child without understanding very well what they're talking about. I'm going to lean more with the right than I will the left because they're at least more based in reality. I want to see what you think about it. I want you to look at the issue and have a sensible discussion about the topic. Let me know your feelings. And sorry for the long email. No, that's fine. That's fine, dude. You paid for it. All right, here's the deal. The economic arguments for conservationism or environmentalism are there. You want to spend as little as you can. Also, I would say even from an environmental perspective, go to LA, go to Vegas, go to any city that's in a valley, and you're going to see smog and all that. And so I am for sensible environmental regulations such as emissions testing, especially in Vegas. You don't dump your chemicals in the water supply. Flint is a bad thing, even though it's predominantly caused by left-leaning Democrats. So I'm all for that. However, on the other side, and I'm deadly serious. It's like most Christians. I'd say 90 to 95% of them are fakes and frauds. They do it because it feels good. They don't actually practice or believe in it. And that's where environmentalists are. And so what drives most environmentalists today is emotion, crusaderism, social justice worrying, and their complete lack of point, purpose, agency, reason, value, and worth in their lives. Most of the people, not all, most of them, we look at them, they're losers. Environmentalists, I mean. They are losers. They don't work real jobs, they don't have anything else, and all they do is protest and bitch and whine and complain because, and we'll go over this a million times before, it's crusaderism. They're too damn lazy to go work real jobs. That's all it is. And so now that we got government spending and debt spending and technology and things, it's very cheap to live nowadays. Instead of going and getting a real job and a real career and a real profession with a real degree, you have an increasing percentage of people that pursue isms, in this case environmentalism, as a surrogate career, as a surrogate replacement, to supplant any kind of real job that would require work, toil, effort, and pain, admittedly. But that's how good things in life are cheap. Anyway, so they're not. These are, you just go look at them and it's painful. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that sees this. It's painfully obvious these people don't give a damn about the environment or the kids or feminism or women or equality or the poor or minority. It's all about them avoiding a real job. And that is, again, I say 90 to 95% of the environmentalists out there. And so this is where, when you start to introduce things like math, the physical limitations of physics, and like, hey, this isn't economic. They do, and then they oh, you want to kill the children, and you don't care about the environment, and all this other stuff. On top of it, you can look at their behavior. I'm not joking. I am a better environmentalist. I'm more of a practitioner than your average environmentalist. And then you see them, oh yeah, I'm for the environment, but they don't keep their car tuned up. They fly, especially the Leonardo DiCaprios and the, what's his name? Oh, the biggest fraud of them all, whose house is like 18 times the size of mine. Al Gore. I just get real tired of looking at these posers, fakes, and frauds. So that is what you are running up against with these environmentalists. Then, very closely related is you have the politicians, and you could say the environmentalists themselves, who want to do something. They have to do something. They don't want to work real jobs. They want. And Amy Klobuchar is a perfect example. None of you know who she is, but she's this nepotist little daddy's girl who ran off of her daddy's tailcoats, local politician here. And she's saying that California passed this thing where future housing is going to be mandated to have solar power. And she's like, I got to do this here in Minnesota. And when you look at the cost that it's going to foist upon everybody, including poor people, which presumably she's a Democrat, therefore she's going to protect, there's no reasoning or rationalizing or merely evidencing with these people. It is a religion, right? They don't care about the environment. They care about feeling good. And in Amy Klobuchar's case, as well as many other politicians, they care about getting reelected. They don't care about the environment. They're just placating and playing to the environmentalist group, the indoctrinated group. Yeah, I'm for the environment. I want to do something, even though we've pretty much optimized. We got enough laws. We don't need any more. What do politicians do? They got to bring in more laws so it looks like they're doing something. So we have bicycle lanes. We have light transit. None of this stuff is economic or efficient. It costs way more, both in terms of money and, if you want to be environmental about it, carbon or greenhouse gas emissions. But again, you gotta realize what their true motive, what their ulterior motive is. The environmentalism has nothing to do with it. That's just what they're telling you. Their true motive is to avoid working a real job and to get reelected if they happen to be politicians. So they're constantly coming up with, oh, we gotta do this, you gotta do this, we gotta do this. And it has no grounding or bearing in the real world of math, economics, finance, feasibility, practicality, and so forth. So you have those two opposing forces. One is, I think, more practical. Like, is it economic? Is it efficient? I know the left doesn't care about economics, but you have to, because economics is directly correlated to how many resources you're expending. You know, if the price goes up, it costs more to use ethanol gas. It's like, well, yeah, that's because you're expending more resources, and it's costing more in terms of environmental resources to produce ethanol than it is regular gas. So I forgot where I was going, but the two opposing forces, you have one that are a little bit more based in reality and economics, because it makes economic sense. Like, yeah, we should do what's cheaper. We should do oil, gas, and coal until that time. But at the same time, they acknowledge, hopefully, that these things will run out, and we should be investing. We should be researching into alternative. Because heck, if we can get the sun, that's free. Why not? Absolutely, free energy. If we can master the technology. But in the meantime, it's cheapest to do this. Then on the other side, you have people that are not environmentalists. They are not. There are some. I think David McKay would be one of them. But you have frauds. You have charlatans. You have zealots. You have priests. You have false prophets and Pharisees using environmentalism or its cause and purpose, its noble cause and purpose, as a means to advance and enrich themselves, or simply, and more commonly the case, avoid working a real job in the real world. So when we get to this video here, that David McKay, he did it real well. I think he was a physicist or a mathematician. And what he did in a very geometric, logical way is come up with a measure I think was rather creative, but very understandable. And that is, he said, if we're going to go green, we're going to have renewable resources, how much can we generate from a square meter of land in terms of biofuels, wind farms? He didn't mention wave farms, because waves go up and down, and you could get, that's energy that you could use out in the ocean. You wouldn't have to use land, but he was focused on land, specifically the United Kingdom. And he was pointing out, like, okay, if the United Kingdom would like to, there's X number of people here, we consume these many watts per day, how much of the United Kingdom surface area would have to be covered in solar panels? And he's like, a third. And then all of a sudden you start to realize the true costs. It's like, okay, what if we wanted to do biomass, biofuels? All of the United Kingdom would have to be tuned into it. And then he talks about nuclear power. Like, well, what if we did nuclear power? Then there was solar panels, wind. Wind would be a little bit, it would only be a fifth or something like that. 3 whales, he said. They said nuclear power. It's like this little itty bitty, and it generates this massive amount of electricity. And he was smart and wise to not talk about nuclear power, because I think he knows that the environmentalists don't give a damn about the environment. They give a damn about bitching and whining and having a crusade. And so they're going to bitch and whine about nuclear power, even though it's the obvious and logical choice to solve our immediate problems and needs. So he went through and did a feasibility. Then he also introduced the idea, okay, well, there's other countries. Now, not all countries look like the United Kingdom. They're not as heavily populated. Some of them have other assets and traits that would lend themselves well to alternative energies, and we could pump that energy to other places. So he highlights Australia as a very low-density populated country, with a lot of desert, so it would be ideal to be a net generator and exporter of electricity if you want to cover the entire Australian desert in solar panels. He talked about, was it Kazakhstan, or maybe certain areas have more wind, and so these countries, because of their natural traits, would be net exporters of energy, and it could be clean. But the larger point that he was making is, this is all nice you guys are talking about and getting emotionally involved, but in the end, what you want is not feasible right now, unless you guys are very much willing to have a genuine lifestyle change. So he talks about, well, there's a vehicle that's 800 times more efficient than a car. It's called a bike. Oh, we wouldn't want a bike. The what was it, the Danish health minister. She's got to like be her 400 bills, whatever the hell she is. No, we can't do that. So he then started going into what would be an intermediary, and I would say logical step until we perfect renewable technologies, be it solar, wind, or wave power. And that was consumption. There's the supply side, then there's the demand side. He was talking about how his house, he cut his energy bill in half simply by doing a thermostat thing. This is what I do. I caulk my house is practically all caulk. I don't know if there's any of the original frame in the house left over. Doing insulation, not heating your house when you're gone. And I've done this naturally because I wanted to save money when I was younger and didn't have it. But yeah, there's a lot of you people just like, oh, you leave the house and you don't think, I got a thing on my phone. I can control the thermostat remotely. It's almost a game. And you save a lot of money. And I think that is, there is a huge potential there to not only lower your costs, make money, but then also lower greenhouse gas emissions if you want to believe in the Cookie Monster, not the Cookie Monster, the Boogie Monster. And that is something that everybody could do, and you should be doing to save money. But again, it doesn't matter right or left. Most people, regardless of their politics, even the environmentalists, they'll leave the lights on. They'll Al Gore it. They'll fly around like Leonardo DiCaprio. But if you really were serious about people, they're fuck recycling, screw recycling. You know what? Why don't you just consume less electricity? Why don't you caulk your house and become more energy efficient and cut your bills? Why don't you, and all you corporations out there who are like, we're for corporate social responsibility. How about you stop forcing 100 million people a year every day to go commute on the highways and clog traffic jams, spewing gas up into and having us unnecessarily buy fuel that we really don't need because we could do it from a computer. See, and this is the point, the overall point that I think Dr. McKay has, the one that I have, is people are emotional. People don't give a damn about the environment. They want to say they do. They're standard typical leftists. I care about the children. I care about the poor. I care about the Africans. I care. Yeah, but what do? What you do jack fucking shit all. You may be taxed to have other people pay for it, but you yourself personally don't do jack fucking all shit. And so my opinion is he's done the math. I think his math is sound. I think his methodology is sound. I really like the idea of how he gets it really boiled down. Like, would you like to go? Okay, well, none of you own property anymore because it's all solar solar panels. I like what he does. I agree with him. But the conclusion, and I don't want to say he didn't have the balls, but he just wanted to ease into it, was nuclear power is the common, simple answer. And I think he said, and he hinted at it, he says, to meet the United Kingdom's demands, we'd have to put in X number more nuclear power plants, which is simply a quadrupling. So 4 more nuclear power plants, 4 times the amount of nuclear power plants, and you've solved global warming, at least from the UK's perspective, and now you can charge, Tesla cars and whatever else, and and then people can run their air conditioning all the time, or in the case of Britain, because it's never nice there, you guys are running your heat all the time. That it is, and it's so simple, and it's so obvious, but this is the nub. This is the crux of the environmental debate, and it belies, or no, it doesn't belie, but it exposes the environmentalist true motive. If the environmentalists really cared about global warming, they'd say, yeah, you know what, we got nuclear power, let's do that. Let's do that, right? They would say, what is feasible? What allows the world to enjoy the highest standards of living? Holy shit, these white dudes back up, almost coming up on 80, 90 years ago, came up with the idea of nuclear power. Even before that, now that I think about it, there's some Germans, were they? Who was it? I know it was an American. I think it was even female had the first nuclear reactor. That was in the 1910s. I'd have to. This is not necessarily new technology, but to highlight the hypocrisy of the environmentalist movement, how they're not for the environment, all you have to do is look at nuclear power. It would allow both parties to have what they want, or they espouse to want. We can have unlimited, well, not unlimited, but effectively affordable, nearly unlimited electricity and power. And then the environmentalists get no greenhouse gas emissions. But again, their ulterior motive, what drives them, is not the environment. It is the fact that they are losers. I'm not doing this to be insulting. It's because it's true. They have nothing else going on in their lives. And they have to have this fake crusade. They need something to complain about. They need something to complain about. And they will always find something to complain about, whether it's in the best interest of the environment or society or people or the world or not. And so even though you have this obvious solution that would satisfy both parties' stated goals, the environmentalists are still going to complain because, oh, we can't bury that in Yucca Mountain, oh, nuclear waste, blah, blah, blah. And if it wasn't nuclear power, if we can't, let's say we perfected solar technology, do you think, oh, we're done here, our problems are solved? Do you think environmentalists are going to stop there? You think they're going to go run out and become accountants or engineers, become doctors, or go have kids or anything like that? No, they're going to find something else, because what drives them is not the environmentalism, it's not the crusade or the cause. It's because they don't want to work real jobs. They are lazy. That's what they're going. So they're going to find some new thing to complain about, because complaining is easier than working. Especially when you can vote in government grants and the A.B. Klobuchars of the world to go and raise money to fund studies that. And so when you argue the debate of environmentalism about the environment, you're never going to beat, nor are you ever going to lose to environmentalists. You have to realize what's really driving them and get them on that. You got to get them on that, saying, this is a religion to you, and I'm done debating with you. We have a solution. It would end global warming now. But you don't want that, because to you it's more important to have this false feeling, this false hope, this false agency to place in your otherwise empty, worthless, valueless life, that you're willing to hold the rest of the world hostage so that you can feel good and have like this little crusade. That's all it is. That's really what the problem is with environmentalism, is most of your environmentalists don't give a damn about the environment. They want to hold the world hostage for their worthless fucking feelings and their worthless fucking lives. So that's why I don't really get into debates with environmentalists. This is why we do clarity tests, why I always look at what their bio is. What do they major in? Did they come from health? What are they doing now? And almost 100% of the time, you're going to find out they're doing jack fuck all shit with their lives because they're lazy fucks. It's that simple. So anyway, yeah, you should be environmentally conscious because it's in your best financial interest to do so. You should also not want to pollute the environment because that's logical and moral and ethical. But when you get into these faux environmentalists who don't give a damn about reality, don't give a damn about solutions, and just want something to bitch about, those aren't environmentalists. They should not even be considered in the debate for environmentalism or policy implemented for environmentalism. But unfortunately, most of your politicians are one and the same. And so it's going to be the feels and the feels goods and the implementing of environmental policy that just doesn't help with the environment or advance society. All right, that's it. You guys got questions, Cap's got answers, assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.